3 of Unit 2. And in Session 3, we'll be looking at curriculum theories and deliberations. My name is Patrick Eji. Now, at the end of this session, you should be able to explain the concerns of educators with respect to the transformation of curriculum over the past decade. And then state and explain the complex questions curriculum deliberations consider when taking decisions on curriculum. Now let's look at the concerns of educators with respect to the transformation of curriculum. And here when we mention transformation, we are basically referring to changes in the curriculum. So for the past few decades, educators have witnessed a growing and a significant change in the way they approach their work. And these changes or concerns have been with what should be taught. Why should we teach it? So why must we teach what should be taught? Then, how should we evaluate the curriculum and teaching? Another concern has to do with what should be the content of the curriculum, and then what knowledge and which forms of experience are of most worth. So these are the concerns of educators over the past decade. And so looking at the concerns raised by educators, we all realize that professional curriculum debate now tends to be over procedures rather than what counts as legitimate knowledge. Because of the various questions, what should be taught, why should we teach it, how should we assess curriculum content, what should be the content. All these talk about the various approaches that educators must follow in delivering or during the teaching learning process. Now let's look at the complex questions curriculum deliberations consider. So in thinking about curriculum, a number of general issues confront us if we take the importance of thoughtful practice seriously. And these are some of the complex questions that curriculum deliberations consider. The first one is epistemological. And when we talk about episteme, we are referring to knowledge. And so under this complex question or under this area, some of the questions that are being raised by educators include: what should count as knowledge? What should count as knowledge? What should count as knowing? So to what extent must a learner know for we to say that he or she knows? So what must count as knowing? Then, should we have or should we take the behavioral position or a one that divides knowing into the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains? Or we just need a less reductive and more integrated picture of knowledge and the mind? That is one that stresses knowledge or process. So, are we talking about knowledge in terms of the behaviorist? And you realize that for the behaviorist, there must be a change in the behavior of the learner, an observable change in the behavior of the learner for we to say that the learner knows. And when we look at the cognitive, that is basically the constructivist, they will also be talking about the change in the cognitive processes of the learner. And so, when it comes to episteme, which knowledge should we consider? Which position, when it comes to knowing, should we consider? Then another complex question deals with political. And under political, they ask questions such as: who shall control the selection and distribution of knowledge? So who controls the selection? Who controls the distribution of knowledge? And through what institutions? So, is the content of the curriculum going to be centrally determined? And if it is centrally determined, which institutions are going to ensure that these curriculum goals and objectives are translated into learning experiences that can be acquired by the learners. Also, we have economic, and then we must remember that every curriculum is designed with the society in mind. And so when we take the Ghanaian curriculum or the Ghanaian physics curriculum, it is designed with the needs of the nation in mind. And so under economics, how is the control of knowledge linked to the existing and unequal distribution of power, goods, and services in the society? So you realize that when it comes to even distribution of teaching learning resources in the urban centers, in the rural centers are different. And so who controls this distribution? That is economic. Then ideological. So under ideological, what knowledge is of most worth? What knowledge is of most worth? Is it just the cognitive that must be of most worth? Should it be the affective? That is, we talk about the emotions, the attitudes, the character. Should this be the knowledge that must be of most worth? Should it be the psychomotor domain? That is the ideology. So, and whose knowledge is it? If we are talking about observable change in knowledge, whose knowledge? Which position are we talking about? Another deliberation has to do with technical. And with regards to technical, questions such as how shall curricular knowledge be made accessible to students? How shall the knowledge be made accessible to students? How are learners going to access what is considered or classified as knowledge? Then we have ethical. So ethical, we are talking about ethics. The ethical. And when it comes to ethics, we consider issues such as how shall we treat others responsibly and justly in education? And what ideas of moral conduct and community serve as the underpinnings of the way students and teachers are treated? So this talks about the ethics, the moral values, the things that are considered to be good, attitudes and value systems that are being appreciated in the community or in the society. Then we have aesthetics. And under aesthetics, how do we link the curriculum knowledge to the biography and personal meanings to the student? How do we link the knowledge to the personal meanings of the student? Talks about the aesthetic aspect of the deliberation. And then, how do we act artfully as curriculum designers and teachers in doing this? So how do we ensure that the curriculum that has been designed, the curriculum that has been developed, artfully it makes appealing, it becomes appealing to learners, the various content, the various learning experiences, how are they able to, appeal to learners such that they would like to learn this content and the learning experiences that are being provided. And the last one we'll be talking about is the historical. And under historical, what traditions in the field already exist to help us answer these questions? So whenever we are designing a curriculum, what is the tradition on the field? The community in which we are designing the curriculum for. What is their already ways of doing things, so that curriculum is designed to fit into the already ways of doing things in the community. And what other sources do we need to go further? What other sources that we must go further? Now, students, today we have looked at concerns of educators with regards to transformations in the curriculum. And we saw that their concerns has to do with what should be taught, why should we teach it, which knowledge is of most worth, what should be the content of the curriculum. And also we look at some complex questions that curriculum deliberations consider. And the complex questions were on knowledge that is epistemological, on technical, on ideology, economic, and so on and so forth. Students, we will end this session here and continue next time. Thank you.